So, Joey, you made a cherry pie from your cherries up at Wrightwood?
Yes.
How many pies did you make?
3.
You gave me one, most excellent. We're up here at Mount Baldy. We're going down for the annual. We're going for the annual berry pick. The red, white, and blue mines right down around that corner. Around 2 corners, actually. But we're going to go from down there over there. Hopefully we don't run into Silent Bob, yeah, that freak. But if he does, he may get a taste of old hickory. Some of you guys may have seen that one with that guy, but I'm going to show you this. Look at this. Danger, there's a violent transient squatter that lives near the trail about halfway. He blocks the trail with debris and throws rocks and branches at people passing by. Be very careful. Law enforcement has been notified, but will do nothing. Look at that, not a damn thing. So you might want to talk to your congressman about them doing their job down here. They say it's forestry's domain. Forestry says it's theirs. Nobody does a damn thing. He's threatened people. Hit one guy in the face with a chain. He threatened to stab us. The guy is just a total psychopath loser. So you might watch yourself coming down here. Take protection. But you might want to put in some calls. If you know anybody, put in some calls, do some emails, write, do something. Sheriffs, get this ass out of here. He's been here about 2 years now. Well, it looks like the information I was given was wrong. The berries, they got about another 3 or 4 weeks till they're ripe. But the pools are very nice. Show you the berries. They still have a good 3 or 4 weeks. Right up there, there's an old ruby mine. Center of the screen, you'll see 3 trout treading water. Watch this. See if I can get them. Center of the screen. Look at all these berries. One time, right here, on the Z-Light, with a German girl. And she'll remember this. Okay, little funny joke here, not joke, but longtime German friend of mine I met up here in Mount Baldy. Came up here, we used to come up here annually and go for it right there on a Z-Light. And then this used to be like almost chest deep. And the berries used to be coming all through the water really washed them out. We used to pick berries there and eat the berries. And then I go, look, fig leaf. And I took one of these fig leaves and held it down here, and she goes, this is some Adam and Eve shit. And she clicked a picture of me right there with a leaf, with this fig leaf. Probably close to a year went by, and I was over at her house out in Marietta for a barbecue, and her daughter goes, hey, nice fig leaf. She showed her daughter the photos. What goes on in Baldy stays in Baldy. Also, if you want to catch bigger fish than this, these are just catch and release for fun on an ultralight fly rod. But if you want to catch bigger fish than in the Baldy stream, I know they were open before COVID. I don't know if they're open after COVID, but I believe they are. Up past the village on your right hand side, going up, it'd be the east side, the right hand side. There are the Baldy trout ponds. You can take your kids there. They are guaranteed to catch fish. They are massive trout in there. You can get a 4 or 5 pound trout, but you're gonna pay massive amounts of money. But it's fun. It's like that place Happy Jack used to be back in the 70s in Azusa. We're real close to the Lapis Azul mine. It's just in back of us, down over the side. Another house back there. That one used to have a water wheel. I don't know if it powered anything, but it used to have a water wheel. Ooh, whipped by a berry plant. So this area is known as Barrett Stoddard, and if you are familiar with the PCT coming out of Silverwood, when you're coming northbound on the PCT from Silverwood to the 15 freeway, well, right by the 138 exit, if you get off the PCT and walk up that dead-end road towards McDonald's, you'll see a monument there that mentions some of the founding fathers of this area, of these mountains, and Barrett Stoddard are mentioned on that plaque, as well as many others. Now, before COVID, the locals were setting up a free museum up here by the next door to the ranger station. What used to be, I forget what it used to be. There used to be something else there 10 years ago, 15 years ago, but it was abandoned for a while, and they were opening up a free museum to all the people up here who had family. They could donate stuff there. So, want to go check it out? Let's go check it out and see if that place is open or if it's there. If not, in back of the ranger station, there's a place you can take your kids. We'll show you, where they have a Tongva village set up. A remake of one. So I've mentioned a ruby mine in back of us, down below, right by the river, right by the old scout campground. That's an industrial ruby. It's not a ruby like a ring. And geologists from local colleges here meet up there throughout the year, and they still find rubies there. The Lapis Azul mine is high up on the mountain, and back of that, and downriver a little bit by the waterfalls. And Lapis Azul is a semi-precious gem. It's blue in color. You can buy some up here at the store next door to the lodge. The owner has his driveway at his place lined up with it. I've seen his driveway. It's just lined with it all the way, big old chunks. And I knew one of the girls that used to live in one of the houses up here, and that's how she earned her rent, is going up to that mine and buying that stuff, selling it to this guy. But he sells it in a little store there. At least he used to. I'll show you that store also. Lapis Azul is found only 3 places on Earth: Afghanistan, I believe it's Africa, and here in Mount Baldy. Kind of strange, but here in Mount Baldy. Now, I have a book. I may have sold that book recently. Holy Places of the Earth, and Mount Baldy is one of them. It seems in the early 1900s, people used to sit on a porch at somebody's house. From what I can tell by the directions, what used to be right about where the lodge is now, or across the street from the lodge. It might have been where the guy that made Bear Flats, I forget his name, his family name, but he cut that Bear Flats trail by himself with a mule. And His house is the furthest one back there with the grand piano in it. They built the house, took the grand. I have a picture somewhere. They made a 3-wheeled vehicle, motorized vehicle, and they took the legs off that piano, put the piano up and down. They walked that piano all the way back, and you know how hard that trail is. They walked that piano all the way back there, just short of Bear Flats, just short where you get to the Bear Flats, where the spring is, where you get to the top of those switchbacks. Instead of making a right and going to the Bear Flats, you make a left, you go back to the bunch of houses back there by the water tower. They put that grand piano in there and then built the roof over it. So that guy, where that house is, somewhere in there, they used to sit there and they used to see UFOs hanging out over the top of Mount Baldy. So they always thought it was holy for some reason. Back there, sitting on that rock, that bucket hat. That is Sideshow Bob back there, the brown shirt and the bucket hat. He's probably sitting there waiting so he can break into people's cars. That's the guy you want to look out for. He looks like an old, dried up Popeye with a beard and everything. He's way out there, and he's not all there. He's just psychotic, and
he will get violent.
And he does get violent. Here's the Baldy Visitor Center, and they used to have a little Tonga village back here for kids to check out. Used to be a blonde ranger that worked in here called Christara. She was about, I think she was 26, 27. She was one of the most incredible things you've ever seen. After they started laying off, she got laid off from here. She went to the Gateway Station. Oh, it's still here. She went to the Gateway Station over in Azusa. She worked there with Lois Pickens. When Lois retired, Krista got laid off, and I don't think she's doing rangering anymore. There it is. But in back of the Gateway Station, we've got a little ring where they used to light fires and tell stories to kids. It's pretty cool. So here's some of the stuff you can show your kids. Little sweat lodge thing. They light fires in here and sit around. And then you got your living headquarters, your basket weaving action. Look at this. They've got raccoon, fox, coyote, the sun, bear scratches, mountain. For you lovers of the East Fork, look at this. Here's a photo, a very clear photo of a picture out of one of the local Robinson books, but this is a lot clearer, and it's on stone. It's Trogdon and his wife, a couple other guys. Iron Fork. This is in Iron Fork. Look, this one has a horse. I've not seen the version with the horse before. A couple of horses, a mule and a horse. So Festus is somewhere in the area here. In 1842, gold was discovered in the San Gabriel Mountains. Soon miners arrived to seek their fortunes with shovels, dynamite, and water. They picked, blasted, and sifted their way through gravel and quartz. At the end of each day, they returned exhausted to primitive tent camps. In the late 1800s, clapboard mining towns were sprung up in various locations, and one of them was all the way from Heaton Flats parking lot, actually down below, just above Oh, what's that area called right there? I'll think of it in a minute. It might be one across the screen. Just from there, from Williams, just above there, Nugget Alley. Just from Nugget Alley all the way up to second crossing in the river. El Doradoville, a little El Doradoville. And they had 1,100 shacks in that area, sprang up in various locations throughout the mountains. Boarding houses, blacksmith shops, general stores, saloons offered housing, supplies, food, and drink to the die-hard dreamers and miners. Very few of them ever struck it rich. I myself have struck it rich tenfold, 100-fold in that canyon. Here's all the different acorns. This is the one that grows, this one. This is the one that grows Crystal Lake. That's a tasty one right there. That's the one I harvest every year. Some of these grow in ice house, the ones that come to points. But see these mortar holes? If you want a good example, I've found some of those in the San Gabriel Mountains. I have found some of those. I've found camps. I don't show them because I don't want them vandalized, or graffiti or trash. But I've found 3 different camps. 3 camps. 3 camps, one in Brea Canyon. But Black Star Canyon. You go to Black Star Canyon, there's hundreds of them. The Secret Life of the Acorn. It's all kinds of cool stuff. You can show your kids back here to get them interested in the mountains. When I leach my acorns, I put them in 5-gallon buckets and I let them sit for about 6 hours, and then I dump them out with fresh water, and I do this for about 2-3 days. Well, the Tongva and other Indians, other Native Americans used to build baskets like this, put them in there and lodge them in the river and just let the river take out the tannin from the acorn. I might try that this way. I might do it this way this year. I might leach I'm going to try some acorns this year. My biggest batch ever. My biggest batch right now is 22 pounds. I'm going to try for 25 pounds. That's of acorn meat. That's not including the nutshell. That's the acorn meat. My record is 21 pounds, almost 22 pounds. I'm going to try for 25. But I'm going to try to leach them this way. These are drying racks also. Maybe deer meat. They could dry fish, whatever they want. There's an old trail over there. That was to be the museum, I believe. Or no. I'll have to get back on the road and check that out. Okay, before the COVID and before all the layoffs, look at this. Summer camp for the Tongva. For thousands of years, the Tongva ventured into the mountains regions in search of food and mineral and material goods. Leaving their permanent villages in the valleys below, the Tongva set up summer and autumn camps in the cool mountains. Outside the thatched walls, there are perch, fish, deer meat hung to dry. That's like I was showing you down there. Roots, seeds, berries, and nuts were gathered and eaten. Dried acorns were stored in willow baskets like I was showing you down there. Granaries hard to work in the summer, bounty of meat. Survival during the long winters ahead. Permanent villages of the Tongva were located in the valleys. They included ceremonial areas, harrow, chute, ceremonial house, kichi, and family dwellings, kich, as seen before you. All the way from the north side of the mountain all the way to Land of the Big Sky, which is Palos Verdes. But in between there and here, there is a place called Hawaiian Gardens. And Hawaiian Gardens, Boy Scouts were digging in there. They were building a park, digging in a park down there near Hawaiian Gardens, and they found pottery and bones. So they cleared it off, and archaeologists went in there and they found it to be a burial site. And now the park was still made, the field, but it's sectioned off. There's a Tongva where you can walk through and read all about it and see pictures and everything, see some of the stuff they found. So they kept the ground sacred. They left the bones in there and covered it with concrete so people can't get them. So these guys were all over the place. Maybe it was this that was going to be the museum. I think it is. Yes, this was going to be the museum. It might be. Elderly heroes. This may actually be it. They may have done it. They talked about it for years. Yeah, this is it, definitely. Mount Baldy Museum. Learn something new and something old. Look at this. Mondays the museum. Mondays at the museum. Come and enjoy the Dorothy Wisely archives. Right on. There's a guy right down here. I'll tell you about in a minute. Well, I'll tell you. He's the guy, if he's Ray. His name's Ray. If he's still alive, he's the guy that used to deliver the propane in this area. And he had a lot of history up here. A lot of history. And he knew a bunch of it. There's also a street down here my ex-girlfriend used to live on. And that's where the murder took place. The two lesbians murdered the old man down here and cut him up with his own chainsaw. Disposed of him in his backyard, stole his house, and hightailed it with his money. And they caught him. That happened up here. This is the Baldy Lodge, where the owner, the man and wife, they're divorced now, but they still own it. They still work together. They own the store right next door, which is that right just past Under Cocktails, that gate right there. There's a soda machine in front of it. During the summer months, it's open on the weekends, and you can buy the Lapis Azul there. At least you used to be able to. Great rentals in back of the lodge too. So that's the Mount Baldy trout ponds. See that? Mount Baldy trout ponds. No license, no limit. The only limit is how much money you have in your pocket. And around this next corner is the guy who cut single-handedly with a mule and shovel and possibly dynamite the trail that leaves the Ice House Trail 9/10 of a mile in and goes up to Glen and then goes all the way back around into Manker Flats? Manker Flats? This is the guy right here, the bloodline of the guy, this house. I forget the name of the property. It's been a long time since I've been up here. This is the property. And that monitor used to exist right out. Used to be able to see it as you're driving by. Right out here amongst all that stuff. There's a bunch of pumps and hydraulic stuff. There's a bunch of stuff back there. Just really overgrown now. That's in between the trout ponds and Ice House Canyon.